when we figure out the secret to the resonance circuits of our reactors, we're also figuring out something about our social science too, which is that when our society is in resonance with one idea that is true, which is cold nuclear fusion works, we will be able to accomplish anything. Season 4, Episode 5, Take 1. Welcome to Quantum Kinetics First Diffusion, Season 4, Episode 5. I'm here with
John Hill.
John, welcome to the show. This is your first time on the First Diffusion. What are we going to talk about today?
Well, I thought we'd talk about potential, McKane.
Okay.
What does it look like to reach our potential in different areas? What does that mean? And among other things, how does that relate to the world of physics?
Ah, yes. But before we begin talking about potential and resonance, John, I got to ask you, who are you?
Who am I?
Who's John Hill? And how do you know how did you get into quantum kinetics?
Oh, geez. It's a long story, but a great story because I came to McKane Lee at a very pivotal moment in my life.
Was it 2014?
It was 2014, where you get into the mud of life and the corporate world and all that other stuff, and you think to yourself, what does it feel like to be alive again? And McKane, though we didn't really cross paths in high school or college, he became my coach
And
at Proval
Northwest. Yeah, so I met John in 2014. He came to Proval, and I had like a whole bunch of clients, and he showed up, wanted to pole vault with us, all the masters vaulters, and we had a really good time. And I remember after one of the practices, everyone left, and you and I were sitting down in those chairs, those black chairs, kind of like these ones actually, and we were talking about life because I had just gotten the accident, and you were giving me all this great advice, like, whatever you're feeling deep down inside, you should just embrace that and really cherish that and go with it. And I really appreciated that, by the way. I still remember that conversation.
I'm glad I could be that for you at that time. I was a lot smarter then, for sure.
Well, now you're married and you're a big man now.
Oh, sure, big boy. But at that time, I remember that happening and remember you talking about it, and I knew you couldn't share everything about what had happened to you at that time. And it's about bald tires. Bald tires is really why we're here. Without that, I don't know if we're sitting here. But you were kind of processing it in your mind, and I kind of think talking through it, you're like, what really did happen?
Why did it happen?
Yeah.
What's it, like when you make lemonade, you need to break some lemons, right? So if you got lemons in your pocket and everything's going bad, how do you make a bad thing turn good?
And
make some lemonade.
And you do, and you are, and that's the beauty of McKane. Not all of you were fortunate enough to be coached by McKane. I'm just telling you about that because, how you do one thing is how you do everything. And McKane can break things down when he's understanding things. I've had some really prominent coaches, but I've never had anyone explain the vault to me like you, because it's the way that you can think about it and think through things that's so interesting. And the other great thing about McKane is,
he's being nice right now.
There would be someone, in the world of pole vaulting, if you're going high, if you're the highest vaulter in the group, you get more attention. You get more explanations. You get more
attention from the coaches and more, all that stuff.
Emotional, social capital, all those things. Not with McKane. You can vault 5 feet with McKane, and after the vault, he's breaking it down for you, for like 7 minutes. And everyone was like, hey, is the runway
is it open yet?
It's like, no, not yet. I'm getting this.
Well, and I remember I would like bring all the students over the whiteboard and be like, okay, the reason why this happened, I would explain to the students, not just the one that just did it, but everybody else. And it was really interesting when I would do that. The kids, when they go to their high schools and go vaulting at their school, they would actually start teaching the other kids at their school too. So it was like this kind of like a dendritic cell would like come down and say, hey, white blood cells, this is how you attack cancer. Go teach the world. Go. And then everyone it became like this neurological expansion of resonance of like, because I don't know if you remember, when we were at Proval, it was like a family. We had the 80s music rocking. We
Yeah.
had like pole vaulting going on, and everyone's like rooting each other on. Even at practice.
Yeah, it was awesome.
So-
And really this whole, quantum kinetics, it's really just getting back to that.
Mhm.
It just all ends in pole vault, I think. But
Well, it's physics.
Everyone loved it though, and it's the vibe that you came to it with, and the attention and love you bring to it, and it was awesome. And
Well, we really appreciate having you on the show today. And in terms of talking about pole vault for the audience, let's go ahead and just talk about the physics of the pole vault so that we can relate that to physics in astronomy and fusion and all that. So, John, do you want to take us through what it when you get on the runway, what are you doing on the runway? What's going on in your head?
yeah, you're kind of trying to calm yourself down, but you're also trying to activate because you know what you need to do, and you kind of see it in your mind. And I think that's what people get about pole vault. When you're a pole vaulter, you really love it. You get obsessed with it because it's really forcing you to use your whole body, your whole mind, and manage your emotions to get down the runway and do this, this event.
Why do you have to manage your emotions on the runway? Why do you have to take all this energy and excitement and then kind of curve it down? Why do you have to do that? What's the reason?
I would say that you're trying to bend the pole.
Well, the steps, because you don't want to overdo your steps, because you want to be on target when you take off.
And that's what people don't know. That you see someone running down the runway, every step is supposed to be precise.
Yes.
And if you're too excited, your stride length is too long, you're going to be off at that last step when you're actually jumping
Mm-hmm.
and planting the pole in the box, and everything's going to be off. So everything builds on itself. It's
That's
all
right.
this huge continuous motion, and it's really an artistic expression. And when you do it right, it feels like you're reaching your potential. And that number, we measure it with a bar, but it's different for everybody.
Yeah.
And it's arbitrary. It has nothing to do with how high you're going.
Right. It's when you get in more sports, you have like a team aspect. Baseball, you got the pitcher, you got the catcher, you got the first baseman, you got the shortstop, you got the outfielders. But in the pole vault, it's just you, the pole, and the crossbar, and this little thing in the ground called the box that you got to get your pole. You're running full speed at this end of a runway, and you're sticking this fiberglass stick in the ground, essentially. And then when you do that, it bends. And then you go from X to Y vector. And it's almost, when you pole vault, what's the best experience that you remember about pole vaulting for you?
For me, that's a great question, because you could ask any vaulter. Every vaulter looks different. Everyone does it a little bit different.
Mm-hmm.
To me, it's when you're bending the pole and you're getting that huge arc of it. The pole
And it's
is
lifting you up.
It's like, now I'm riding. Now I'm going for a ride.
Yeah, I'm flying now, right?
Yeah.
I'm off the ground. There's this force bringing me up, but it's also pushing me back.
Yeah.
Okay, it's weird.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you get your feet up over your hands, and then it wants to release. And the further your feet are over your head, when the pole releases from, and this is what's interesting, this is going to tie into fusion. When you're running down the runway, you're creating kinetic inertial momentum in the X factor, right? And then you plant the pole, and then the pole becomes potential, right? You got all this kinetic energy, you're turning into potential energy, and the pole's bending.
Mm-hmm.
And then it turns that potential energy back into kinetic in a different vector. And this is where phase angles of electricity come into play.
Yes.
The importance of nuclear fusion is turning light into matter, or matter into light.
So we were talking about that too, where there's a timing aspect of it too. It's all in this flow, and that's the resonance of it. If you're not in resonance with the pole, with yourself, then all that potential energy is lost. You want to grab all of it.
So here, that is a 100% amazing statement. And I'm just going to break that one little statement John said, which was genius, down a little bit further for y'all. Is that if you're on a pole that's too small for your body and you run down the runway at full speed and you plant, you're going to overpower the pole and you're going to fly over the top of the pit and get hurt. But if you've got a pole that's too stiff or too long for your speed and you plant the pole, you get flown back onto the runway and you get hurt there.
Yeah.
So your objective in the pole vault, just like in fusion with resonance, is to find the pole that matches your characteristics of your runway speed, your abilities, your talent even.
Yeah.
And then when you meet the two together in a perfect, harmonious, balancing resonance, you'll go up.
You go pretty high.
And you
goes
can
up pretty
go
high. Not all of us go as high as McKane. But especially when you're starting out, that's so fascinating because, you know, you're getting faster every year. So your run has to be different. And a lot of times what happens is you move up a pole and in length or stiffness, and mentally you kind of get a little timid. And then you slow down. And now, when you were supposed to be running at your full speed to make this work and have resonance with the pole, you're actually doing something different. You might end up on the back on the runway,
or just straight down the pit.
Yeah, which is even worse.
Oh yeah,
box. No one wants to do that.
No, it's actually one of the worst things you can do. I have a little story about that. I was at Reno Summit, which you probably know all about.
And
the
Reno
Reno Summit.
Meet. It's kind of the trade show of the pole vault world, right?
It is. Everyone who is anyone is there, okay, and everyone's having beers and hanging out afterwards. So I'm a UW student, and it's my first year as a freshman, and I've just gotten the 16-foot poles because I was normally on 15-foot poles. I'm just trying to maximize the technique for a 15-foot pole.
It's a huge difference.
Yeah. It's a big.
It feels a lot different,
and the timing of the arc is different.
Yeah.
And I remember one of my coaches at the UW was there too on the side of the runway when this happened. I'm running down the runway. It's my first jump of my college season. And I'm on the 16-foot pole, and I'm super excited. Like you said, you got to curb your excitement.
Yeah.
And I run down the runway, I plant the pole, and I immediately swing up like I always do. And I went for a full jump. And I realized as I'm looking down that the crossbar is behind me now. Not in front of me where it's supposed to be, but it's behind me. And I've already let go of the pole. And I'm looking straight down from 17 feet in the air, and the pole is flowing away from me. And I am falling down straight into the box. Which, by the way, if you don't know what the box is, it's metal.
It's metal.
Triangular metal thing. Fall straight onto my back.
Oh no! I've never heard this story.
Yes, and man, it was like my life flashed before my eyes.
Because sometimes you can kind of see that, and you can split your legs.
I kind of did that.
You're like, oh, I saved it, but you.
I'd already turned over, dude. I was on my back.
Oh no!
Coming down. So I committed, and I kind of had vertigo. I lost where I was in space and time at that moment because I was so going for it.
Yeah.
Like when you get tunnel vision, dude, you kind of mess things up, right?
Gosh, this is at Reno. This is a lot of everyone's here.
So,
did you vault again that day?
No, I was done. I went into the nurse came over and we kind of ended it right there.
But not significantly.
No, it wasn't that bad. It's just bruised spine. That's all big deal.
He's made of iron, like this guy.
Well, the thing about the pole vault is that you have to be tenacious. You have to be resilient, and you have to not say no. Like, you may get hurt, you may have a bloody nose, you may have the pole break, you may miss the pit, but you just never give up. You just keep going.
And that happens with, being an elite vaulter. I would never even close to that. What they're doing though is incredible. It doesn't do it justice when you see it on YouTube. To me, I'm like, that's kind of what it is. If you're there, it's like unbelievable. To see what they're doing. They're doing things where they're on poles that are so big that they have never touched, and in competition they'll pick one up.
Yes,
because now they've got the
crowd.
Yeah,
and there's money on the line. There's a gold medal.
Want to do it, and they go down the runway and they do it. It's incredible that they're doing that.
It's risky business.
Yeah.
So in the pole vault, I remember Stacy Dragila, one of the famous female pole vaulters of our time, she was basically doing a news broadcast that actually just won, I think, the Olympics or something. First woman Olympic winner or something. And she's like, yeah, it's all about calculated risks. Pole vault is just calculated risk. And you know what's funny? It's a lot like fusion. Calculated risks.
Yeah.
Like you're dealing with a nuclear reaction. You're doing these fine-tuned changes, and all of a sudden, boom, it snaps at you. or the pole breaks and it hurts your hand, you're like, okay, I learned my lesson, right?
Yeah.
Or whatever. But to go back to the elite vaulters, is there an elite vaulter that you really like? Who's your fave?
Oh, well, you've got Erkay Newell from Estonia, of course. The guys from Kazakhstan, even. Everyone's so different. And
Yes.
they bring their personality in any shape and size. Who do I love? I don't know. Buka in that, that in France in 1991, I think he went 6'12" indoors. The lights were low and like only the runway was lit up. That's great.
Man, that was crazy.
There's a lot of modern day vaulters, like I guess recently it's really taken off too. You see that in high school. Kids are going pretty darn high.
Well,
now,
actually,
all the time.
Speaking of kids going high, we just want to make a special announcement that Jordan Allen or Jonathan Allen, thank you.
Who we don't know.
No, I just saw the headline. I was like, he's from Hanford High School. Way to go, buddy.
Yeah. Incredible as a sophomore going 17.6.
6, which, by the way, that's, if for people who don't know, that's the Washington State record all time high as a sophomore.
And McKane was.
He broke my record.
It happened.
Yeah.
But
we're going to break new records, different records.
Yeah. And so we're kind of thinking about that in like terms of potential. What does that look like? I was at a soccer sideline, kind of all the dads are talking about AI and all this stuff. And everyone's got their, Fitbit device or ring, like, oh, what should I eat? And everyone's a professional athlete now, right?
Yeah.
Optimize themselves. And they were talking about that in team setting. How do I optimize for that? And we were talking about pole as sort of more of a purist activity.
It's an individual.
I might have won the meet, but I didn't hit my potential that day. And so actually I'm walking away not very satisfied.
Right.
And there's a lot of humility in pole vault because you always end on the miss if you keep going. This is
very interesting that I've only had one time in my entire pole vault career where I ended on a make and I stopped. You know what it was?
Because you won.
It was the sophomore all-time record at the University of Washington at 15.9 as a sophomore.
Yeah.
The coach came over, Charlie Shugart, after I cleared it. Which, by the way, Charlie Shugart is a fantastic Washington coach, one of the best.
Incredible.
And he came. I remember this very vividly. He came over to me after all the girls came over and gave me hugs, and the family was cheering. And then he says, "McKane, it's okay to stop vaulting now if you don't want to do another jump."
Charlie Schugart's very smart that way because you can't mentally recover from that. I mean, all that the love and the get back in the zone after.
No,
that.
it's kind of like a bomb has gone off in your head, and you can't put the pieces of focus back together because you just did something that was so amazing. I mean, I was watching Jonathan Allen jump that 17.6. That's happened last week. And I watched him. As soon as he landed on the pit, the first thing he did was he ran off and got excited and ran around like a chicken with his head cut off.
Yeah.
He's hugging everybody.
Somebody.
He's loving on everybody now, dude.
Connection to it. I was rude. I should have asked you, and I kind of answered the question not great. Who is your favorite pole vaulter?
Well, obviously Sergei Bubka is my favorite. He was kind of, just to go back a little bit of history about when I was in high school, we didn't have any coaches really. And you know this too. We had to travel long distances to get coaches.
I did. And a shout out. I had actually a great coach, Ron Ellis, the esteemed musician, teacher, Renaissance man.
Mm-hmm.
But I know that you weren't as lucky.
I was unfortunately up in Arlington where we had a cinder run track, and we had basically one pit and no standards, and it was a crappy pit. So literally I had to find resources of how to teach myself. And I remember my father bought me this like old VHS Jan Johnson Sky Jumpers, old school tape cassette thing, right?
Yeah, VHS, like the squiggly line.
Oh, it's all, every cut is just like a freaking squigglies everywhere. And my friends in high school were like, "Hey, want to go to a party or hang out or go to the river or whatever?" And I was like, "No, I'm watching Jan Johnson Sky Jumpers." And I'm like, "Okay, dude.
Can we come?
Can we
over?"
No, don't have a pole vault pit yet. I'm just a high school kid, but. In terms of like when you don't have resources, you figure out a way to make it work. Like if you're Iron Man, you're stuck in a cave, you make it work. You find a way to make it work. And when high school, I didn't have much resources to do pole vault or learn it. So I just repeatedly watched Jan Johnson's videos and pole vault. And the moment I saw Sergei Bubka on that VHS tape, I stopped it. And I was like, his fall is beautiful. It's powerful. It's efficient. And there's just something about his form that just resonates with my soul.
It looks odd. It looks like a piece of art, or like a statue, like a
Michelangelo
he
statue.
does. He looks like in motion. Everything's perfect. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I just would sit there for hours and hours and hours and slow-mo everything.
Yeah.
And I took that same approach to when I would go out to the track. And my dad was very fortunate to have a father figure to help me train. He would take video of me, and then I would watch it on the high 8 and just go back and forth with it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And so family is a very important piece to being successful. And I think that you want to talk a bit about the potentials of professional athletes and why all of a sudden they do super well.
Yeah, I did. I had a little some data points. I'm a finance guy.
Let's go for it.
And things like that, and we're kind of interested in that, like in an atom, right? Like from our perception, the electron is in this theoretical orbit that we just is accessible for us to understand, and for some reason it quantum leaps, it jumps, like it kind of moves it beyond its potential as we understand it. Why is that? I don't know. But I do get interested in that idea. Like as vaulters, we're trying to meet our potential,
The maximum height.
yeah, and the full expression of ourselves in that way, in our physicality and our strength and our speed and our timing and our resonance and all these things.
All of it.
And I was kind of interested in this idea of, can you ever exceed your potential?
Can you quantum kinetic bounce out of the dimension?
Yeah. And so I was kind of interested in this. Elite vaulters, when they get up there, they're making small incremental improvements. It's like 0.02 meters and like
A centimeter here, a centimeter there, we are,
and walking away feeling pretty good about that.
Oh, yeah, because you just got 30 grand.
Yeah.
Bonus.
Yeah. And so I was like, okay, well, let's look at some data. Track and field's great that way. It's accessible. It has it's in the vacuum. You ran fast, you didn't. You vaulted, you didn't. It's not like baseball or basketball or soccer where it's like, hey, we didn't play that well, but we won. That's all that matters, right?
Yeah, we had a couple errors here and there, but we still pulled out a W.
Yeah, so let's go home and feel good.
Yeah.
And good. That's good for them too. So I was looking around, and 2016 Olympics kind of were fascinating to me because you had Renaud Lavallini, a French world record holder, who beat Bubka at 6:16
Crazy.
doors. And this, I don't know if I already repeating myself, but the great thing about pole vault is all shapes and sizes. This guy's listed at 5'9", like 150, which probably means he's a lot, not even quite
For a
that.
pole vaulter, that's pretty short,
It
like
means
me.
you're 5'7",
Like you and I, we're pretty short.
I'm micro. But you got guys that too are like 6'5", 6.
Oh, they're huge.
But everyone can be successful.
Successful. Right.
That's our word now.
That's a word now.
And so, 2016 Olympics, we're in Rio, in Brazil, and there's a Brazilian vaulter named Thiago Braz da Silva, had gone high, 593. That's pretty high. He's against Lavallini.
That's like 19.6, isn't it? Something like that?
Yeah.
Somewhere in there.
I think we can do some math
Yeah.
translation, but he's going high. And so I was like, what makes the vaulter reach his potential? Is it something inside myself? Is it this device I have on my wrist who's telling me I got good sleep today and ate well? And I'm like, it's got to be more than that. And so what happened in that meet?
Yeah.
Okay, you already know this. But he, with this crowd behind him,
The stadium was packed.
yes, chanting his name. He probably was on a stick he'd never touched, so big. He jumped 6.03 to win the gold medal. And you look at that vault on YouTube, I could never even do what he's doing, right? But if I were to say, it doesn't look like he even knew how to handle that much energy.
The pole, it was so much power. He came off early. And for technical people that know the pole vault and coaches, you can tell he got off early. He didn't when you line up with the pole, when you're inverting and you line the pole up in your inner thigh, aka your crotch, the longer you leave it there as it's releasing, the more energy gets transferred into your hip to make you go up in the air, like anti-gravity craft, right?
Yeah.
But he got locked in, and it was so different and so much, oh shoot, am I even going to make it into the pit? He came off early. But because the pole, he just had enough momentum to get him in the pit.
Yeah.
Unlike what I did at Reno.
Yeah.
He got enough momentum. He cleared it by a mile.
Yes, who knows how high he could have gone. It was like this crazy, in terms of a percentage change, it was like over 1%. It was a huge improvement.
Huge.
It shouldn't happen, right?
I'm sure the French guy was like, what just happened?
Yes.
Because now the pressure's on me.
Yeah. So he's got that real electron, positron going on with the crowd. So what made this guy reach something that he could never do without? It was the crowd. It came from an external place.
Yes.
Someone cheering him on, right? We were talking about that for young kids. What would that be like to go to a meet, give some young vaulter unlimited attempts, and just have this crowd cheer this person on to well beyond what they'd ever done? I love the idea of that.
Well, in the arc reactor fusion on demand technology, what happens at resonance with the electrons, which you can't see in the circuit, but what happens is, John, just like in that stadium, the arc reactor begins to resonate the voices, the chanting, and everyone's focusing in on this one motion, this one concept, this one peak of potential, where everyone's literally focused, laser beam focused on this one jump. And everyone wants the same thing for this person to succeed, for this electron to quantum jump or quantum bounce to the next dimension. And I'm telling you that when our society gets behind nuclear fusion in that way, where we all get behind the audience, like the crowd gets behind the actors, our civilization can accomplish the impossible things that we like. Let me just ask you this. Would you imagine in that moment anyone had a negative thought?
No, it's all positive.
Yes.
Yeah. And you see that, we see this a lot in business and in team sports, and those are good lessons to learn. One of many in a team working together, but there are winners and losers. It's binary, right?
It's so binary.
In track, it's kind of more absolutist. I'm going against the clock. I'm going against the height. And I can get third place and walk away feeling like I won because I know I performed.
It was a PR. I got a PR. I got third, but I still got a PR, so I'm feeling good.
I'm feeling good about it. And I don't know how we do them. How do we translate into business or team sports or academia or things where it's a ranking and it's how did I do relative to my peers? Something for us to figure out over the next 50 years or so.
Well, I think that to go to the point of how do we figure out how to work together in business? Why is it an on-off binary, winners, losers? Why can't we be in resonance? Because when you're in resonance in a circuit, the electron is on and off at the exact same time. And when it's on and off at the exact same time, it can be anything. It could be a winner where everyone wins. It could be a loser where everyone loses.
Yeah.
And this is one of the main points I want to make today on the show, is that there's this idea of physical sciences and social sciences. And right now we have a situation where in the physical sciences, we can't figure out nuclear fusion. Hot fusion hasn't worked for 80 years. It's struggled much. They've never generated 1 watt, blah, blah, blah. Energy consumers. What is it that we're missing about physical science to make us be winners? To make us be not just struggling to figure it out, but when we figure out the secret to the resonance circuits of our reactors, we're also figuring out something about our social science too, which is that when our society is in resonance with one idea that is true, which is cold nuclear fusion works, we will be able to accomplish anything. And instead of being a society focused on hate and your color is different than my color, or I have more money than you and I am more important than you.
Yeah.
Well, what if we're all important? What if we all have the Fibonacci genius inside of us?
Maybe we're going through that painful struggle of moving away from that. We've been throughout history, as far as your history books will tell you, and maybe that's not an easy change to make. Maybe that's why we're seeing there's a lot of cultural pain just in general. There seems to be, crisis of identity, crisis of scarcity of resources, a lot of things changing right now. And coming into QKC and learning what you were doing, I was kind of thinking through that. A lot of people can feel like if I have an empire built, I want to keep that empire, and I understand that. Kind of tendency to kind of keep what you got. And I was thinking, electronic vehicles have been around for a long time.
Was it 2008?
I think with Tesla was the first production, maybe something like that. There's probably some earlier
Iron Man going to lock us in on that one.
Yeah, but nobody, the whole world didn't run out and buy electronic vehicles.
Right. It was a slow thing.
And recently this has happened. I was looking at the numbers. This year, maybe 1 in 4 new cars purchased as an EV. But all cars on the road, it's much less US. It's like 2% of all cars on the road are EV, 5%.
It really hasn't changed that much, actually.
Yeah, so there's room for everybody. You know what I'm saying? I'm thinking about this from an investment standpoint, or wanting to make this happen as a business and help you in any way possible. That kind of is an interesting idea to think about.
It's interesting. You're like, I had this meeting with a multi-millionaire guy in Canada. He was in charge of the in-transit BC, and I had this crazy idea about mining, and I went up to his office, top floor, looking over Vancouver, and he sat me down in his nice chair, and he's like, okay, McKane, tell me your idea about what why are we talking? And I told him about this mining gig in Alaska in Nome Placer. And he says, that's a really good idea, but you're going about it all wrong. And I was like, oh my gosh, really? He says, look, my family in France, going back to Renaud, my family in France has one of the biggest wineries in France. And we are very wealthy. But when we started with 1 bottle of wine. We figured out how to make 1 bottle of wine. And then we learned how to make 2. And then we learned how to make 10. And then we learned how to make 100.
Yeah.
And so what he said to me was like, look, you got this grand idea.
Yeah.
And it may work, it may not.
You're a big thinker.
It's a bit
creative, artistic. Yeah.
It's very nice of you. But when rubber meets the road with the tires, you got to start small. And I remember with Pro Vault, when we started, I had used borrowed poles, no rack. I had everything held together by bubble gum, basically. And people showed up. People paid me. People vaulted. They got better. And it was just like, you have to start super duper tiny, and then it grows.
Yeah.
Just like a plant.
Yeah.
A plant germinates, comes out of the soil. It's not very strong. And then it gets more sunlight. And then it gets bigger. And then it starts doing some type of, photosynthesis, which is soft fusion.
Yeah.
Love, creation,
I do. And that's so, all this resonates with me so deeply, because I kind of saying the same thing over, but how you do one thing is how you do everything. McKane can run a pole vault business, or be a first responder, or work in the video game industry, or create an arc reactor and start Quantum Kinetics and Quantum Kinetic Well, because it's all the same thing. It's all his approach on how he's doing anything, and it's awesome to see that.
You never give up, and you never surrender like Galaxy Quest. You just keep at it. You just keep at it. You don't stop. And when even your family members are like, "Oh, you're crazy." Okay, cool. If you read a history book, Oliver Heaviside was thought to be crazy. He figured out the telegraph problem, which saved industry millions of dollars. Okay. James Clerk Maxwell. He was a guy he lived in an Irish hut, basically, living with his wife, making him tea, and he made up the treaties, the Maxwell treaties of electromagnetism.
And really, we have her to thank. I mean, she's his crowd, right? Giving him tea, rubbing his shoulders. Is it a lighter? Is it a pointer? Is it a wave? What is it?
Yeah, it's a scalar wave. Do you think that she understood anything that Maxwell was writing down in his mathematics? No.
So I think we need to ask that question. Where should we send McKane? to go think about these next big things.
I want out of the cave so I can actually, go back to Stark Industries and get it done for y'all.
Well, I love that direction you're going with the rad waste because I think that's something that's makes a lot of sense in the near term, and that was kind of initially when we kind of reconnected and looking at the business plan, and like this is just there's multifaceted and so many different opportunities. The investment community, in my experience, doesn't love that, right? They don't want to hear love is fusion, fusion love. They want to hear like something nuts and bolts, basic. I can understand.
What's my ROI?
In about 20 seconds, and then raise money and move on.
ROI. What's the timeline? Go.
Classic CFO phrase to say. Get up in front of the company and
like. But maybe we're doing business wrong. Maybe we're doing corporate capitalism wrong. Maybe there's something that we're missing about this whole industry of services provided. Maybe there's something we're missing.
I mean, there's a mass panic in the U.S. Everyone's freaking out about, in my neighborhood, about keeping their jobs because things are shifting so dramatically. And so you're coming in talking about, potentially being a disruptor to an industry. That's happening all over the place right now.
Yeah.
So it's like whoever's going to win, I guess, will win. And I know we got some big IPOs coming up too, SpaceX, Anthropic.
Oh, yeah.
Do we have any announcements that you want to make about any bells ringing on the NASDAQ? Not quite yet.
No, we're getting close, but I'm not at liberty to say, but I'll say that when we all start resonating together on the focus of what this can do, then everyone's going to win. For example, the reason we're doing rad waste is, yes, there's problems to be dealt with and problems to be solved. But what actually is funny about the rad waste is that it actually saves the taxpayers money. You may not know this, but you as a taxpayer are slotted to pay $550 billion in the next 30 years because of Hanford. For all the weapons manufacturing we did back in, the early 40s.
Think how much higher Jonathan will go once you clean up Hanford for him.
He may not go higher at all.
We haven't talked to about Mondo yet, but maybe he will challenge the great Mondo.
17.6 for a high school kid. That is pretty dang good.
For any high school kid. And then there's a sophomore, that's scary. I was interrupting your...
Oh, I forgot what I was talking about.
We were talking about the taxpayer.
Oh, Hanford.
Which I love when people say, like, well, I pay taxes for this road, for this school bus.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, that's true. Yes, you do. That's what's holding you back from that beach house is the taxes you pay.
Well, back in the early years when we had the big New Deal and all that stuff in America, where we're like, we're going to build roads, we're going to do bonds, we're going to do all this stuff, and we're going to invest in America, invest in Uncle Sam, invest in infrastructure building. You know what's funny? That actually worked.
The New Deal.
The big New Deal actually worked.
Mm-hmm.
It actually manufactured huge amounts of roadways. It made industry possible. It made America basically great. So what we got to do is we got to start slowly easing back the stock market. And we got to start easing back into Uncle Sam and the people. Because, my goodness, there's a lot of money that goes in for our taxes. And by the way, there's going to be more because of Hanford's waste is not solvable until nuclear fusion comes on board.
Well, I love the direction you're taking, and it's all little by little. Yes. I think that the entrepreneurs always kind of say that singular focus on one thing often leads to a lot of success. So that first step is really cool.
When you do something like nuclear fusion and you figure it out and you write a patent and the patent office says, we're going to grant it to you, but we don't normally grant this to you, go teach the world. When I heard that happen and I saw that and I'm like, okay, we have nuclear fusion. Yeah. Like you have to plan out like a neuron. You got to go, what are the possibilities here? Can I go this way? Can I go this way? It's like,
oh yeah,
you have to literally pre-program possibilities of like, which neuron will you take? Which neuron pathway are we going to take here?
There's too many possibilities.
And there's too many. But if you keep pulsing your brain into the possibilities, like for example, we got the arc reactor trademark for fusion. I thought, well, okay. I thought that was totally not going to work, and then it did work. Why did it work? Can I continue to play on that? Is that going to help? And the answer is yes. Because every single one of us has the fusion heartbeat inside of us, in our inner child.
Yeah.
We all believe that we can jump 20 feet.
Oh, yeah.
We all believe we can be the best pole vaulter possible if we have the right resources.
And any version of ourselves, which we're always trying to be. Like, we're trying to, like, I want to be the best student today, or
yes,
boyfriend or girlfriend, or whatever, parent, or, you know, business person. And I had the luxury of knowing you, right, before all of this, really.
Yeah, so we should be asking you what you think.
And because, you know, I'm kind of listening to this idea, and like, there's a lot of, you know, skepticism from the potential investors I'm talking to, like, you know.
Yeah, what was your experience with investors trying to talk to them into this?
When I, you know, heard that you're reconnecting, talking about this, I'm like, oh, I discovered cold nuclear fusion. I'm like, yeah, of course you did. I know you. Of course you did. No one else I know would do that, and you did. And people, you know, there's fear around it. There's disbelief.
Mm-hmm.
That was my advice to you, kind of on this, guys. Like, I know you're educating the world, and I love the Marvel theme and Iron Man. I grew up on that with my kids, even. But investors want something so boring that they like, let's think of this as like a pressure washer company, or here's the new unit and like, let's make this so accessible, right? Was kind of my initial thought.
Mm-hmm.
But as I listen more and more to the podcast, now I understand what you're doing, and I definitely have these tendencies too, where it all intersects: art and business and science and feelings and emotion, all that.
Music.
In music, it's all kind of the same thing. I love the idea of that. Yeah, I did talk to some investors that I thought would be like, you know, you're putting $10 million into another fried chicken place. You can't give McKane, like, think of the upside of a fried chicken place. Relatively limited compared to what McKane's doing here. And still, there's trepidation around it. So,
well, we've talked about this in other podcast episodes, but there's a thing called PTSD, which is a post-traumatic stress syndrome, essentially, where in the 1980s, 1989, cold nuclear fusion tried to come to fruition, and then it turned out to not be the case. And unfortunately, it put a really bad taste in everyone's mouth that it's never going to happen. But, you know, all you have to do is try something slightly different. Like in the pole vault. When you run down the runway and you do a certain type of, you know, try something. I'm going to try to move my hands differently this time.
Yeah.
Oh, it didn't work. Okay. Go back to the end of the runway and try a different technique.
Mm-hmm.
And I would do that all the time when there were no kids around. And I would always try new techniques that no one saw. And
it's hard to know what you're doing too. Like, you can't really see yourself by the camera at some point. But
oh yeah,
you were the only coach who ever told me, you know, like, plant the pole and then follow your hands the whole way through. And that was just
because they're right in front of you.
Revelation.
Your hands are holding on the pole. You might as well watch what they're doing.
Yeah, it's making me want to try to get back on the track.
Soon.
Yeah, but it's kind of like that support that you need from everybody. And, you know, these things don't happen overnight. And I don't think that's good for happening overnight, you know, in terms of, like, we're seeing that with AI right now too, where it's just disrupting everything. And maybe it's for the better, or maybe it's not. I don't know, but it's concentrating the work into a few. So you got, like, a lot of huge winners, and then a lot of people, you know, maybe they're not entrepreneurial, or they're just someone who needs a job.
Mm-hmm.
And we're sort of forgetting about them. And it's like, we'll figure it out later. And so with any kind of disruptive technology, electronic vehicles too, it shouldn't happen overnight. It can't. It's just for the fabric of society. We need a more graduated, methodical plan to help that work. And so I love that. Like, well, let's focus on rad waste.
Hot fusion is supposed to take effect somewhere between 2030, early 2030s to mid 2030s. Okay, that's when the professionals are anticipating hot fusion will come to the grid. Is that going to be true? I don't know. It's been 80 years and they still haven't done it. But in terms of nuclear fusion, well, it's already figured out. It's just, you know, who's going to be the right person to do it, you know, with the right heart. And that's the thing too, is when you have technology of this level and this magnitude, you know, you want to make sure that you're dealing with the right people that have the right heart. And that's why we do this, you know, this motif, if you want to call it that, right?
Yeah.
Is that most people who are investors that are dry and boring and, you know, blah, 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 what's my ROI, blah, 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 blah. Well, I look at what this Quantum Kinetics company is doing, and it doesn't work for me. Good. I don't want it to work for you. I don't want you in this game. We're ushering in a new paradigm shift to the universe on planet Earth, which is that Your inner child has always been the winner. Your inner child has always been the genius. And if you have enough support behind you and love behind you, like at the stadium with the 2016 Olympics, was it?
Yeah, it
Where
was there. Yeah.
everyone in the crowd was singularly focused on one element of the jump. And it made one athlete who was an underdog
He was.
jump out of his shoes. And I can tell you from my experience in the pole vault, when I saw that, I know what it's like to grab a pole out of the pole bag that you've never jumped on before.
Coach, really?
I have a story I'd like to tell real quick, but there's a UCS Spirit pole that I ordered from Steve Chappell.
Uh-huh.
And we were at this Stanford high school championship. And I pull out this pole, because all my other poles, I blew through them because I was so excited.
It's going good. It's going well.
It's
with
going
your
super. So I pull out this pole, and Steve Chappell is there. He delivered the new pole to me at Stanford.
Oh, that's awesome.
And so I pull out this pole that I'd never touched, never even warmed up on, and I just put tape on it. I got called up to go, and I'm putting tape on it. So the clock's running. So I put my hand on the pole, and I run down the runway, and I can't remember. I don't think I cleared it, but I made it in the pit.
He made it, yeah.
I made it in the pit. And Steve Chappell came up to me after the meet, and he puts his hand on my shoulder and goes, "McKane, that was the gutsiest move I've ever seen in my life."
That's awesome.
Because you pick up a pole you never touched before. It could have been a sail piece difference that throws you out the back of the pit.
Yeah.
Or it throws you on the runway.
Usually you're picking up a pole, someone's vaulted on 100 times, and it's sort of like broken in, you know? So the numbers don't really hold when that's the case. New to old, it's apples to oranges.
It's the equivalent of getting in an F-16 where you barely know how to turn on the engine.
Yeah.
And you're going full afterburner on the runway. That's how crazy that is.
It is. It's insane. I think that's the thrill of it. You're trying to reach your potential, but there's that thrill seek mentality too that's also sort of quenched at the same time.
Well, and that's the thing too, is like you have to basically really resonate with your own confidence.
Yeah.
You have to really believe in yourself.
And that self-knowledge, I think, is what's so wonderful about the pole vault. It's like the confidence in yourself you can bring to the rest of your life. And I got a boss who sucks, who tells me I'm not good. I know I'm good.
Yeah.
I know he's just telling me I'm not. You know, it's different than team sports a little bit.
Well, that's dissonance, right? That's totally dissonance if you think about it. Like music theory, like your soul, your inner child is like, I'm vibrating, I'm a great frequency, I know I'm good. And then you have some type of outside force that comes in and says, no, you're not a good wave. You need to be dumbed down. Don't be like that.
You're knowing yourself too much. I can tell.
Don't do that.
Yeah.
For God, fear, no, don't do that.
Well, I was also interested in, sort of what jumps out between, track and field has these record holders, the best in the world who have ever done it, Yeah. And it's first, and I was like, well, let's look at that for a second. What can we know about the difference between first and second place? What's the disparity there, and maybe why, And in the pole vault world, Armand Duplantis is who everyone's talking about and has been for a long time because
he's the world record holder.
And I think has every world record at every age group. Grew up in, I don't know him. What
was he jumping when he was like 10 or 9 or 8 or something?
He had a pit in his backyard. Both of his parents were elite Olympic athletes.
I think his mom was a high jumper, right?
A heptathlete from Sweden, because he vaults for Sweden.
Right.
Because in America, in pole vault, you get 3 attempts. And then if you don't hit any height, you're done. So for the Olympic qualification, that's how it's set up in America. And I think it's different in Sweden. Among other things, is probably why he's doing it. Culture, heritage.
Sweden women are gorgeous.
Well, that might be part of it.
Yeah, I think so.
But I was like, okay, for the 100 meters, for males, I think Usain Bolt is like 1.1% better than second place.
Which is tiny, tiny changes.
200 meters, it's like 0.4%, just an example. 800 meters is 0.2.
Yeah, okay. Look at this too.
And for the pole vault, Mondo is 2.1% better than second place. And
That's
it's like
crazy.
That is crazy that he's that much better. And I was like, what does that tell us about, potential or performance? I was looking around and I was like, you see him vault. What does he do after he clears another world record?
He goes and hugs his dad?
Yes. He, as far as my research tells me, he's the only world record holder right now who's coached by his father.
Oh, there you go.
So it's sort of that stadium behind you
Mm-hmm.
concept
Mm-hmm.
in every vault with him.
Mm-hmm.
And what's more powerful than that relationship with your father trying to gain approval? And I can imagine bringing him along. And so then I came just a little bit further.
Oh, keep going. You're on a roll.
There's a huge outlier here in the difference between first and second place. And it's in the female category for hammer throwing.
Okay.
I know I don't need to tell anyone about this because everyone knows about hammer throwing. I mean, it's like NFL, and then it's like hammer throwing, and it's like NBA, I think, in the U.S. anyway.
Where's hockey in there?
There's hockey in there somewhere. So I was looking at this woman, and her name's Anita. I can't even spell her last
Pronounce her last name.
I can spell it. I couldn't. I got
We'll throw a picture up of Anita.
Because like Thiago Braz de Silva, improving by over 1% in one meet.
That's wild.
She did the same thing
at a home meet.
At 2.3%, she got better after the Rio Olympics, and she's Polish. Where did this happen? Like
was at home.
It was in Poland. So Thiago Braz de Silva in Brazil, crushing his previous PR.
Yeah.
Anita in the hammer throw, crushing her previous PR in
Did
Poland.
the stadium get behind her? Maybe you think?
Idea of being like that home, like we're getting our potential exceeded by something that isn't in us.
Right.
It's
realizing your true potential through your community.
I love that idea of that, right?
Well, right now, in our society, we don't even know where home is.
No, we don't.
Like you turn on the news, and you're like, bombs going off, and people. And it's like, this doesn't feel like home. This feels like dissonance. Where's home here?
We're looking for that.
And where's hope? Right.
I think that's kind of what you had at Pro Ball. It was like everyone had this sort of like.
Yeah.
It was a
camaraderie
for home. I'm feeling at home myself because McKane's helping me reach my potential, whether that's 5 feet or 15 or who knows what, doesn't matter.
Well, I always treated every athlete the same. Like I had athletes that had tons of money, and I never asked for more money. I had athletes that came to me that had no money, and I tried to make it work for them as much as I could.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, it's important to realize that when you coach an athlete, you get, there's only really two types of athletes. One that are super talented and lazy.
I don't know any of those. I've never vaulted with them.
Actually, there's a few more, but I'll just name the two. There's one, talented, lazy athletes. I hate coaching those. I'll coach them, but I don't like them. The academic establishment. Okay, and then there's the non-talented hard workers. I love working with them, and I'll tell you why.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you succeed with them, you're succeeding in ways that even the establishment can't win. Like the boring business guy. I just want another fryer that makes another $100 million. No, dude.
Yeah.
Like, let's not even do fryers. Let's do something different.
Yeah.
It's not about the glory of like, this fryer is going to make me a whole bunch of money. No, dude. What if we made a fryer that doesn't do any pollution? But that doesn't make any money. It makes money for the people. You don't have to pay much taxes. In my vision, I'm going to share a vision that I had recently. Was a dream I had. I had a garden, and I had all this fruit that was really healthy. And in the backyard was a silver UFO. That was my car. I was a farmer, and I don't know if it was the Swiss Alps or somewhere, maybe out here, but it was the highest level of contrast to the farming person and then the UFO high technology person.
Yes.
And it was like, contrast. It worked. It was like found resonance with the environment, but I also had found resonance with high tech. And that was the way it was supposed to be.
I love that you're bringing that up because we were kind of talking about the potential as a human. What does that look like relative to nature, or as a relationship to a family or friends or community?
Yeah.
Like there's ways that we can describe that work mostly for everybody. Maybe, let's say, just as we're biological, we should have some
works for nature.
Yeah,
works for us. We are part of nature.
But then bringing that over to the tech side of it too, where I haven't reconciled that yet, where we're still innovative on the tech side that we're outstripping our humanity. Well, it seems.
Well, I think AI is a problem. Let's make a machine that learns how you work on the computer, and then so that we can fire you. I will tell you a really quick story, actually.
And take away your ability to work through your meditative thought process that you used to have at work, how satisfying that was, and now not.
When I worked at EA Sports, I remember when I was in the motion capture department, there was a lady who was above me. She was a technician 2, and I was a technician 1. And she was working with a group in India to help make the data set and the tutorial set to teach the Indian people to process the post-processing of the motion capture. She did all this work, months and months and months and months and months of work. And she got everything ready, and she taught all those people how to do that in India. She got promoted to tech level 3, and then they fired her. Because they didn't need her anymore, because she basically she worked her way out of her own job.
I think that's the problem too, is that, we're getting set up for everyone being their own business owner. And I have an HR department and a marketing department and finance, all in my AI.
Mm-hmm.
And I understand that, but we're not all entrepreneurs. A lot of us are not. And so if you're not,
right,
we can't just say you're out of luck.
Mm-hmm.
I think you've got to create something.
A harmonious system that is balanced, right? Like, we can't have a society where there's billionaires 1%, and then there's a middle class that doesn't exist anymore, and then everyone's impoverished. You have to have a system where it's curved and balanced and round, and that it's smooth. And the objective there is to basically not be selfish and know that everyone has a place and a part to play in this big game. And if we have, in my opinion, there really shouldn't be billionaires. There's no reason to have a multi-billions of dollars. You cannot spend that much money in a lifetime. And if you could, wouldn't you want to use it for good? Like, for example, people were sending messages to us early on, like a year and a half ago, about nuclear fusion. Oh, can't wait till Elon Musk sees this technology.
Oh, sure.
Bro, he's seen us.
Invite him into the...
No, he knows us. He's seen our stuff. I know he has, because we promote it on Twitter and everything else.
Yeah.
He knows who we are. He will not call us. Why? Hold on. The guy has $28 billion, and it's going for an IPO for what, $2 trillion or something like that?
Just about, yeah. Getting close to that.
Okay, you want to do Starship rockets that keep blowing up? Well, what about something different?
I don't know if the billionaire, that number puts you in a certain. We've seen that throughout history, though, whether they're billionaires or not. Like, men or women who amass great power and influence and sort of shape the world in their image, and
in their tiny world.
Yeah, and it's independent of money in some ways. We're the sandbox, right? And
I don't know if they like the sandbox. They get sand in their privates.
I always wonder though, with that, you were at a table with all those people sitting there chatting.
Yeah.
And they're interested in what you're doing, and I don't know, it's a collaborative. It's easy to sort of look from where we are, or I am, and assume what it's like, what they might think. But then sitting down with them might be different. I mean, there's the possibility it would be.
Right. And so to kind of swirl this into a closing, because we're almost at an hour now. Got 1 minute.
Oh, man.
I know that went fast, didn't it? We're in a time warp. But to swirl this all into a beautiful message for the audience that stayed tuned is that in the pole vault, John, there's a resonance of trying to reach your maximum potential, And if you can get the audience behind you and focus on an image that everyone loves and wants to see, go for it. Jump the bar.
Yeah.
And if you can get the crowd and even your family members behind you, like having your father or your mother or your siblings or whatever, and everyone can agree that this is the direction we all want to go. I want a vision of like, we have our own fruit, we have our own crops, we have our own things, and it's all healthy. And then I can jump into a UFO and go to wherever I want. Right?
I love that. Yeah.
I mean, I don't have to get in a car. Why use wheels that go bald after a while? Like we talked about in the beginning where we slide off the mountain. Bald tires. I don't need tires anymore. Let's just use a flying saucer. Anti-gravity crap.
And I think that people kind of hear that and be like, well, if I'm an automaker, I don't love that. But I think there's always going to be cars.
There'll be a Chevrolet UFO, dude. Get out of here.
I mean, even self-driving cars. I want to drive my own car because I'm like that. I know we're wrapping up here, but I did have a gift for you, McKane, that I used to wear.
You're gonna
this
make me blush.
At a company, kind of around 2014. It was
oh my god,
a fun. Usually, in finance, you have a blue shirt, button it up, boring. I don't do anything outside of work except think about math and numbers and ROI. But this company was a fun company, and they let people have personalities, and so I would wear this as a belt buckle to work. And I found this the other day, and it does seem like it should be yours now.
Oh my gosh. This is an Iron Man Texas belt buckle.
Yeah.
This is fantastic. Thank you, John.
Yeah, you might need to punch your own hole in that. We're not all in McKane Lee proportions.
I think I'm a 32 waist or a 30 waist.
All right, that might do it.
Yeah,
for you.
dude, that's great. Thank you so much.
Well,
that's wonderful.
Well,
oh man,
thanks for having me on. I love chatting with you.
Yeah,
here, there, and everywhere. So
it goes good with the mask, you know.
It does, yeah. You can bring it with you wherever you go.
Look, we should definitely have you back on the show, John. I mean, your background's very finance oriented, so we should probably have you come back and talk more about financing. And as we go forward more with the business side of Quantum Kinetics, we will be doing that.
Yeah, it's a great idea.
So we should definitely have you back. But again, thank you so much for enjoying the start. Let's finish our strawberries off. Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
So thanks again, everyone, for tuning in to First Diffusion Season 4, Episode 5. Remember, fusion is love.
Love is fusion.
You don't have to force it.
It just happens.
It just happens. All right. Have a good rest of your day, everyone. Take care.